Hello and welcome back. And in this video, we're going to be looking at another interview question. And this one is once again stack related. And this one is called valid parentheses. So basically, you've been given a problem where you've been given a string that just contains these parentheses, right? So you only have open bracket, close bracket, curly bracket, and square bracket. And basically, you need to determine if the given input string is valid or not. Now, check for the validity is basically if the bracket is open, it must be closed in the same by the same type of bracket. So you cannot have you're opening a curly and close it by square, or opening a bracket and close it by curly and stuff like that. An open bracket must be closed in the correct order. So if you're closing, let's say if you have parentheses, then open parentheses and close parentheses should come next to each other. And if this open parentheses and close parentheses is wrapped within curly, then curly, open parentheses, uh, open curly, open parentheses, close parentheses, and close curly. That should be the order. I mean, it should not be reversed. So that is your basically given string, and you need to validate if the locations of these parentheses or brackets is correct or not. So let's take a look at the example. So once again, if you have open and close parentheses, that means it is true because it's valid. If you have input as open parentheses, open square, close square, and open curly and close curly, that means it's actually also true. That means it's a valid string. And if you have open parentheses and close square bracket, that is false because that's not the correct order. So basically, you need to determine, given that string input, if the parentheses are balanced or not. It's also known as balanced parentheses. So so that's your problem. Once again, the hint is you can use stack to basically solve this problem. So go ahead and pause the video, take a first stab at it to see if you can come up with a potential solution, and then resume to see what we've got for you here. Okay, so pause the video now. All right, hope that went well. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we got for you in this. So let me remove this, and let's go ahead and create a new file. And we're going to call this parent balance dot swift. Okay, we're going to create a function here. Parent balance, and it's going to take a string as an input, and it's going to return a boolean as the output. Okay. Now there are a few things that you need to keep in mind. Basically, when you're getting this string, right? What can you do with it? First of all, you need to actually divide this into character character array, and then analyze each value, each character value, and see which state they're in, which order they are in. So what we can do, this is the perfect example because this is where we can actually create those impromptu stack operations using arrays. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to create a stack based on array, and this is going to be a character based array. Okay. And next thing, what we want to see basically is whether our parentheses are closed in correct order or not. So for that, what we can do is we can loop over each character in the string. So in Swift, you can do for char in S, and that actually can give you each character in the string itself. Okay, so that's what we are doing. And then for simplicity, you can actually print your stack and see what you've got so far in your stack. So initially it's going to be empty, and then what you need to do is you need to first check if the character is open, one of the open parentheses Um, so, for example, if it is uh, it, open bracket, open curly, or open square. Okay, if it's one of these, um, so we can say string dot contains um, characters. So basically, if the current character is one of these, right, then you want to push that into stack. Put that character into the stack. Okay, so you're gonna start putting all the open parentheses into the stack. Now, if that's not the case, and you know that the given string only contains these open and closed parentheses, so in that case, it must be the uh, closed parentheses character that we are looking at right now. So we're going to say else if the character is equal to, and we can take this one by one. So we can take like, if it's closed parentheses, then we can simply check, and we can use guard statement here. Guard is just like, a fancy if statement. So guard, and what you need to check if the stack is stack count is not equal to 0, first of all. So if it hasn't reached 0 yet, and the character that you're looking at, right? So last character or pop operation that you're looking at is equal to the close parenthesis. So if you encounter an open parenthesis, this if you encounter a close parenthesis, then if the stack at the top is looking at close parentheses, okay? Um, okay, sorry. Let's take it again. If the character is close parentheses, and if the stack has as a top element as open parentheses, this actually balances it, right? Because you found a open parentheses and you're closing it right there. So situation like this, okay? So first character, you found this one, and you inserted that into stack. Now next, in the next iteration, it's not open, it's closed. So you compare that it's closed, yeah, and the stack has something in it, and stack's top is pointing to the open. That means this value is actually balanced. Okay, so this is the correct combination. So in that case, what you want to do is you want to proceed to the loop. If that's not the case, you put else and you return false. Okay, so hope that made sense. Actually, I just wanted to take it really slow. We're going to repeat the same condition for all these three. So if character is, once again, if it's a closed curly, right? It can be in any order. If it's closed curly, it can be in any order. You mean like, these values. But if you're inserting something like this, so for example, if you're inserting this, right? Your close valid parentheses is your close, right? If you're inserting something like this, right? Then your balance parentheses should have this at the end. So when you inserted this curly into the stack, the next element it came was open bracket. You inserted that into the stack. Next element is close bracket. You look at your stack and see what is the top, and top is actually open bracket. That means it's balanced. So far it's balanced, right? Next element you see is close curly, and you've already removed this element, this open bracket, from the stack. So next top is pointing at the curly. So in that case, when you encounter close curly bracket, then you say, what's the top value for the stack? It is open curly bracket. That means it is a valid string. So you're going to do another check, right? You're going to say guard stack dot count is not equal to, still not equal to 0, and stack dot remove last is pointing to an open curly. Okay, so close curly, open curly, the last element, the top element. If that is the case, then great. If that's not the case, return false. Okay, continue forward. Check for the last bracket, the square bracket. Same condition. So if you have something like this, if you have square bracket, and if you have curly inside that, and you have bracket inside that, right? When you encounter square, open square, you actually insert into the stack. When you encounter open curly, you insert it into the stack. When you encounter open bracket, you insert it into the stack. Now that's where your stack insertion ends. Now you look at close bracket, then you actually look at the top element of your stack and you say, okay, yeah, it is actually the open bracket. Close bracket, open bracket. This is balanced. Cool. This is removed from your stack. Now your stack top is pointing at open curly. Next element, next character you encountered is close curly. Now you take a look at close curly, you see the top of the stack is basically your open bracket, open curly bracket. Then you say, okay, this is balanced. You actually take it out. Stack is now pointing at open square bracket at the top, right? Next character you encounter is close square bracket. You actually take a look at the top and you say it's open square bracket corresponding to closed square bracket. You take it out and there you go. Your stack is now empty and your parentheses are balanced in the string. Okay, so you check one more time. Stack dot count is not equal to 0 and stack dot remove last is basically pointing at the open square bracket, right? Open square bracket for closed square bracket. So if that's not the case, return false because that particular string is not balanced. Okay, once you have done all these checks, right, you can actually print your stack again to see if there's anything in the stack. If there is anything basically remains in stack, that means your parentheses is not balanced. So you simply say stack dot is empty is going to be the output. So if your stack still has something in it, that means your parentheses are not balanced, you're missing something. So a stack.empty is going to return false. That is going to be the output for parent balance function. And if it's empty, that means all the parentheses that you have actually entered in the string are balanced. They're in correct order. So that is a valid parentheses string. So you simply return stack is empty, true. You return that and you get your output. Okay, so hope that is clear. And once again, if not, then watch it over, read it through. Reason we are printing these stacks so we can see what's going on. So let's go ahead and take a look at example. So we are going to call this in print, and I want to take one by one. So let's take this as an example. This parentheses, so parent balance, and we're going to take open close first. Okay, let's run this. Okay, so let's go ahead and run it again. There you go. Okay, so you initially had your empty stack, and then let me put stack in here so we know what's in here, right? What's being printed. There we go. Okay, so your stack was empty. Next, you encounter open paren. You actually inserted something into that. So open paren is inserted. Then you encounter the close parentheses. So you remove that value from the stack. Now your stack is empty again. That means your parentheses is balanced now. Okay. So you get parentheses balance is true. All right. Let's take a look at another example. So all these next to each other. So kind of like this. Kind of like this. Okay, let's go ahead and run these. So your parentheses balance is true. For the second input, your stack is empty. You encounter this open bracket. You encounter the close bracket. You actually remove that from the stack. It's valid so far. You encountered a open bracket, square bracket, and then you encountered a closed square bracket. So you remove that. It's balanced. You encounter open curly. You insert it or you push it into the stack, and when you encounter the closed curly, you pop it. At the end, your stack is empty. That means it's still balanced. Okay, let's take a look at the example where they are nested into each other. So, like that. Okay, let me copy this and paste this as an input, and let's take a look. So there we go. So is it balanced? So your stack starts, you have open bracket, that means you push, you have open square, you push, you have open curly, you push. So you're right here, but you have all these three open brackets inserted into your stack. Okay. Now when you start closing these, first item that you close is the curly, right? So when you open the curly, when you encounter close curly, you see, okay, the stack at the top is open curly. That means it's balanced. So let's remove that from the stack, and your stack only has open bracket and open square bracket. Next, you encounter close square bracket. Then you look at the stack at the top. Stack at the top is close open square bracket. That means it is your balance situation, right? So you remove that, and you're into the stack where you have only this bracket remains. So you actually take the bracket and you say, okay, I encounter closed bracket. Is there any open bracket in the stack? Yes, there is. You take it out. Your stack is empty again. That means this is balanced now. Now let's switch the order, or let's mess up something. So let's close this first, and then we are going to close the square bracket. Now, by no means this is actually valid, and we should get false in this case. Okay, and as you can see right here, parentheses balance is false, and it ended actually immediately, right? Because we were actually doing that computation where we are looking at, hey, are you looking at the current closing parameter? So in this case, your open is curly, but you encounter closed square bracket. If you look at your stack at the top top is pointing at open curly, so it's expecting an open curly or closed curly to be the next character, which is not true. That means incorrect parentheses have been closed. So immediately, as soon as you find it, you actually return false in that case. Okay, so that's how you actually use stack to basically determine if the parentheses that you've been, the string that you've been given with parentheses in it, have valid balance or not. Okay, and that's how you do it. So hope that question was tricky, but hope it's clear now. And thanks again for watching. And in the next video, we're gonna see an advanced version of this same problem, where we're gonna actually see how can we find out the basically the longest substring of valid paren, if there is. Okay, so that's gonna be the topic for next video. So thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in next video.